The term accident is infuriating and completely dismissive of criminality and negligence that led to a person's death. That is the problem that this bill fixes. SB 1071 provides a legal mechanism to amend the manner of death on a death certificate after court judgment, ensuring it is not classified as an accident where there is a legal finding of homicide. This happens more often than people realize. When someone is killed by an impaired driver, meaning a person under the influence of alcohol, drugs, medication, or distracted by their cell phone or fatigue, the death is often classified as an accident at the time of the autopsy, since the full facts are not yet known. But later, after court review the evidence, the death can be legally determined to be a homicide. Even then, the death certificate stays the same. SB 1071 fixes that disconnect, and it allows the next of kin to request that death certificate to reflect the court's final determination. It's important to be clear about what this bill does and does not do. It does not change the facts of a case. It does not revisit a decision. It simply ensures that the official record reflects what has already been determined through the legal process. This issue also extends beyond individual families. Death certificate data plays a critical role in our state. It informs public health research, guides criminal justice policy, and shapes decisions at every level of government. When the data is inaccurate, it affects how we understand serious issues like impaired driving. It impacts how we allocate resources and how we develop solutions. When we get the data right, we are better equipped to respond, to prevent, and ultimately to save lives.
I'm proud to stand here today with Senator Joe Bowe, all of you, to support Senate Bill 1071, which would allow victims, next of kin, to request an amendment to a loved one's death certificate and ensure that it reflects the legal findings of the manner of death. When a victim is killed by a drunk driver or impaired driver, the medical examiner or coroner classifies the manner of death as an accident. We all know that's not an accident. We know it's a homicide, it's a tragedy, and this bill is going to address that. My granddaughter, my own granddaughter, Samantha, 30 years old, with her master's just received, was killed tragically by a drunk driver on Christmas Eve a couple years ago. So the tragedy will never be erased. Our family will never be made whole, and the weight and to carry that tragedy with us goes on and on. But with all the victims that are here and those throughout California, we in California, with this bipartisan bill, are fighting for you.
For more than 4 decades, my daughter's death has been used to teach this country that drunk driving is a violent crime. Laws changed, public awareness changed, and more than 400,000 lives have been saved. Generations of young people grew up hearing her story and being told this was not an accident. Yet her own death certificate still says it was. When someone is killed by impaired driving, drug poisoning, or reckless behavior, it is not an accident. It is a preventable act that deserves truth, accuracy, recognition, and clarity. This is the heart of SB 1071. For too long, deaths caused by drunk, drugged, or reckless drivers or by drug poisonings have been recorded on death certificates as accidents, even after a court has found that that person is criminally responsible. That one word, accident, erases responsibility. It means it turns a crime into a mishap. It adds insult to unimaginable injury. SB 1071 changes that. It creates a clear post-conviction process so that when the justice system has determined a death is a homicide, the death certificate can be updated to reflect the legal truth.
My daughter, Alexandra, was killed by a counterfeit prescription pill made with a lethal dose of fentanyl. We were told it was an accident, but there was nothing accidental about what happened to her. Someone chose to manufacture that pill, someone chose to sell it, and both chose to profit at the expense of my daughter's life. That's not an accident. That's a homicide, and we need to start saying it. And Alexandra is far from alone. There are families across California living with this same reality, but the official record tells a different story, one that removes responsibility and minimizes what really happened. So I want to say this directly. To every family who has been told their loved one's death was just an accident, when you know it wasn't, you are right to question it. You are right to demand the truth.
As prosecutors sworn to uphold the law, we understand that justice isn't simply paperwork. It's more than paperwork. It's the truth that we seek and we honor for every single victim and every family. SB 1071 ensures that California's official death records are going to reflect that truth. Here's what the bill does. It recognizes that a court's legal determinations, like a conviction of homicide, that is reflected in the accurately reflected in the court's state's official records, the death certificate. It provides victims' families like Matt and Candace, with truthful, dignified accounts of their loved one's life and death. And it improves public health data, policy decision-making, by ensuring we have reliable data, truthful, reliable data on some of our state's most pressing issues, including drug-induced homicides, including vehicular homicides. And the problem is very clear in those cases, in vehicular homicides and drug-induced homicides. Early in an investigation, a coroner might not have all the facts. They don't have all the facts, and they may classify the death as an accident. But after a full investigation, after a trial, a plea, appellate review, a court's going to lawfully determine that the manner of death is a homicide. And when that happens, the official state record, the death certificate, should honor that legal judgment, should honor the legal determination of homicide. And SB 1071 creates a very straightforward, clear path to make sure that we can correct those manners of death on the death certificate so that it aligns with a court legal determination.